What is going on, everybody? What is going on? The Catch fam. Hope everyone is doing phenomenal tonight. Hope you guys have had a great start to the week. Hope you guys wrapped up week 10 of the fantasy season in good fashion. Excited as ever to be here with you guys. You guys know what time it is, baby. Time for some live week 11 fantasy Q. And hey, so let's hop right into tonight, man. We got a lot to get into. We are at that pivotal point of the season, and a lot of you guys are starting to get confident that you have made a push for the playoffs this year. A lot of you guys are at that point where you need to make a playoff push. A lot of you guys might be in that boat where things are looking pretty rough and you really need to make a playoff push, to put it nicely. So the pressure is on. The calls get far more important this time of year. I feel a lot more pressure as we start to make these playoff pushes, because even those of you who are, in good standings in your respective leagues, you lose a couple games, a couple other teams start to win some games, standings can change pretty drastically. Playoff seeding is important for a lot of you guys as well. Some of your leagues you get bye weeks, some of your leagues you don't get bye weeks. So it's week 11. This season has just absolutely flown by. But we have about 6 weeks or so, depending on, some of you guys play through week 17, some of you guys play through week 18, majority of you guys play through week 17, but 6 or so weeks left to do this thing. So I'm excited, guys. Love this point of the season. Definitely feel the pressure, but just keep in mind, I'm always going to give you guys what I think is my my opinion of the best starts, the best sits, the best waiver wire pickups, the best trades to make, which, by the way, we only have about a week left of trading in a majority of leagues. But always trust your own conviction, trust your gut. What we are is we are a fantasy community where you guys can come out, talk fantasy football, bounce ideas off of me, ask me questions, get my feedback, and bounce ideas off of each other, get each other's feedback, so ultimately we can dominate our fantasy leagues. But it doesn't always mean I'm going to be right, because that is the fun in fantasy football. So a couple weeks left of the season, baby. Let's grind it out together. Let's win some playoff games. Let's make playoffs. Let's win some fantasy championships this year. All right. Appreciate you guys being here tonight, man. Hit that like button on the way in if you guys have not hit the like button yet. Hit that subscribe button, of course, if you're new to the channel. Hop in the live chat. Let me know what's popping, guys. Let me know how everyone is doing. Appreciate you guys coming out tonight. All right. Week 11, Thursday Night Football. We got the Titans at the Packers. Short week for a couple players here, like Aaron Jones, who's dealing with a shin injury. Might see some A.J. Dillon out there. Regardless, it is a tough matchup. The Titans have been very good against the run so far in the season. This Titans team, atop of their division, only 3 losses on the year. Might not really feel like it, but this team is not that bad. We're starting Derrick Henry. You can move on. We are starting probably a couple Packers receivers, depending on who plays, right? Christian Watson's a good flex option coming off a big game. He's not going to have another 30-point performance, but this Tennessee Titans secondary is not good. Okay, their front seven's good. Their pass rush is good. Their run defense is good. The secondary is almost non-existent. So Christian Watson's fun in the flex, but we really need to take a look at what receivers are starting and not starting this week. Allen Lazard, of course, if he's starting, I still like, even though he had his worst game of the season last week. So you guys know I kind of avoid Thursday night matchups, but there's going to be a couple of players to take a look at here, and he just had to start Derrick Henry, right? Bears at Falcons moving into Sunday's 1 o'clock slate. Khalil Herbert is on IR. He will be out for 4 weeks, so fire up David Montgomery. This Falcons defense has not been good against the run. Fire up Justin Fields, Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet. They are all starts as we approach the end of the season. This is a good matchup for them this week. In terms of the Falcons, I think that Drake London's a little sneaky this week. May have been dropped in your league if you need a desperate streaming option. I think Cordell Patterson bounces back. This Bears unit has not been good against the run. Who knows? Tyler Algier, Caleb Huntley, or there are 7 other running backs could play well. Also, Maybe take a lot of touches from Cordero, but Cordero's probably fine in the flex. Kyle Pitts, if you have to. You guys know I hate Kyle Pitts, but I mean, sure, he's a good guy. I don't hate him. I hate him from a fantasy perspective, but there's something in my eye. You guys know I have no faith in Kyle Pitts on a week-to-week basis. Eagles, Colts. Woo! Eagles with the upset loss in Week 10. Anyways, we're still starting all the Eagles players. Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, Eagles defense. Start them all. But we did get bad news that Dallas Goedert's going to miss some time. We don't know exactly how much time, but extended time. We talked about this last night, and we were worried last night. And we talked about it more, and I mean, he played after he supposedly got hurt. We got less worried, and I woke up today very worried. I am a Dallas Goedert owner, so he was your tight end 4 in full PPR. It's a big loss because this position's already so thin. So Goddard's going to miss some time, which is not good. But keep an eye. I mean, you know, we've got 2 other tight ends on this team that I don't really know anything about, and certainly someone can step up within this offense. But I will say this, the Colts defense has been very good. They are literally the best team, believe it or not, from a fantasy perspective, against the wide receiver position. So keep an eye on A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith this week. A little risky. But you got to imagine this Eagles team wants a good offensive statement. All right. In terms of the Colts, I'd say fire up JT without a doubt. Can't afford to bench him like we talked about the last couple of weeks. I like Paris Campbell in the flex. I don't really like Pittman or Alec Pierce, though. Matt Ryan, desperate streaming option. Jets, Patriots, can start Michael Carter in the flex, hopefully. Start Garrett Wilson, but it's a tough matchup. This Patriots defensive unit is good. Start the Patriots defense. You can start the Jets defense in this game, for sure. Start Ramondre Stevenson all day long, even if Harris is good to go. You can always start Jacoby Myers, but he's got a tough matchup. You know, Sauce is going to be out there. So we're avoiding the quarterbacks in this matchup. Commanders, Texans. Fire up Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson. This Texans run defense cannot stop a fly. I guess it'd be kind of hard to stop a fly playing football. But anyways, you know what I mean. This is the worst unit in the league against the running back position. Fire up Gibson. Fire up Robinson. Both are good flex options. Scary Terry. Playing very good football right now. The Texans' corners are not bad. They have not played bad against the wide receiver position. But we can start Scary Terry because he is playing good. Curtis Samuel, Jon Dawson, keep an eye on. Both could be flex options as well. For the Texans, you can still start Dameon Pierce. Yes, they signed Eno Benjamin off waivers. I get it. Pierce is still going to be okay. Other than that, I don't really have any love for this Texans offensive unit from a fantasy perspective. Rams at Saints. Cooper Kupp's going to miss some time. Yeah, probably the rest of the season, right? Big loss. I mean, big loss for fantasy rosters, but big loss for football too. And I would say the Rams season is over. I would say this thing's a wrap, you know. So they got to try and regroup next year to make another playoff push under the McVay era and under the Stafford, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Cooper Kupp era while those 4 players are still together, which I don't know if it's going to be much longer in the next year. But regardless, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but there's still plenty of time, and a lot of things can happen. So, in terms of the Rams, Tyler Higbee's fine. Allen Robinson is okay. That's about it for me, man. We'll see what happens at the running back position for them. In terms of the Saints, fire up Alvin Kamara, fire up Chris Olave. There's some other streaming options in there, but those are the main 2 guys we're looking at. And the Saints defense looks like a good stream this week. Browns Bills, this could be one of the better games of the weekend on paper. But I did read today, this is probably going to be a snow game. So, like, I don't know how to look at this game. Nick Chubb probably looks good. Devin Singletary probably looks good coming off a good game. This Browns team has not played well against the run. So, this one's a tough read if this really is a snow game. And I read, like, a lot of snow in this one. So, see what happens. But I would say most of your primary offensive starters we're going to assume are starters because, I mean, guys like Nick Chubb and then all the Bills offensive starters are guys just starting like no matter what. But we really got to pay attention to the weather in this game. Panthers, Ravens. I still think you can start Donta Foreman, but I've got him a little bit further back on rankings for the week because this Ravens run defense looks vastly improved. And they've been good all season, but with Roquan Smith, they look vastly better. So keep an eye on Foreman, but I think you can still start him. I don't really like the rest of the Panthers unit going into this matchup, but there's probably some value to DJ Moore or Terrace Marshall, but I don't know. Baker's throwing the football. I think the Ravens defense could have a nice day. In terms of the Ravens offense, so me, Gus Edwards, and/or Kenyon Drake, your risk. It's a good matchup, but I never trust the Ravens backfield. Lamar Jackson, he can fire up. Hopefully Mark Andrews is good to go. I don't know if we have true word on Mark Andrews. Let me take a look here. Has a good chance to play in Week 11. So, yeah, you're starting Andrews if he plays. I don't really like this Ravens receiving core right now, so I'm going to stay away from them. But it isn't a bad matchup. Lions, Giants. Tough matchup for the Lions this week. The Giants are probably one of the most underrated teams in the league right now, and this defense is not playing that bad. So Swift and Jamal Williams have value. Amon-Ra St. Brown has value. But it's a tough matchup this week. But all those guys you can flex, for sure. Giants, start Barkley. Barkley's going to have a field day against this Lions defense. I think that Darius Slayton and even Randall Robinson, who's been really disappointing in the last 2 weeks or so, are worth starting in this game because of this matchup. Raiders, Broncos, start Josh Jacobs. He is good at football. Start Devontae Adams. He is also good at football. Not the best matchup here, but you got to start those guys, right? Broncos defense you can still play, you know. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy's probably not going to play in this game, probably going to be out. But Cortland Sutton and Greg Dulcich, you can definitely fire up if you're desperate. Not a high ceiling, but Melvin Gordon and Latavius Murray, good matchup for them this week. If you're desperate for a quarterback this week, I think you could stream Russell Wilson, but I don't know. I had to stream him last week in a league where I had Kyler Murray and Joe Burrow. Burrow on bye week, Kyler out. Didn't work out for me, so I don't know if I really recommend that. Cowboys, Vikings, this should be a good game. This should be a fun, competitive, good overall game script. Fire up your players in this game. This should be a good one from a fantasy perspective. CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz, Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard. Pollard's value goes down if Zeke plays. If Zeke doesn't play, fire up Pollard on all cylinders. Not that the Vikings' run defense has been bad like it was at the beginning of the season, but Pollard and Zeke are flex options if they both play. Cowboys defense, he can still play him. Vikings are good. Shout out to our Vikings fans out there, man. Captain, you like that? Kirk Cousins remains a fantasy starter. Not a high ceiling, but someone you can start. Safe start on a weekly basis. Safe floor. Dalvin Cook, he can play in this game even though it's a bad matchup. Aaron Jones played well against this unit last week. JJ should be in your starting lineups. TJ Hawkinson is good to go. Thielen is a flex option. A little bit of risk there, but he's fine in the flex. Bengals, Steelers. I got a bad feeling about this game when it comes to the Bengals. I feel like TJ Watt is the Bengals' kryptonite. But I think they'll be fine, ultimately. But I won't be surprised if we see some turnovers in this game. Look at week 1. Burrow had like 4 turnovers in that game. So, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Hayden Hurst, Joe Mixon, all starts this week. Steelers defense, I don't mind this week for a streaming option. Najee Harris is fine, but the ceiling is non-existent. And I think he's dealing with a banged up knee at the moment, so keep an eye on that. George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth are all fine because the Steelers are going to continuously find themselves in game scripts where they need to throw the football. Chiefs, Chargers, Sunday Night Football. This should be a good one. I am crossing my fingers that this Chargers unit can get it together, man. And, give us some spark here at a pivotal point in the season. Play competitive. Look like just the Justin Herbert-led team that we were wishing for coming in the season. But, in terms of the Chiefs-Chargers, fire up everyone here. I hope Mike Williams is healthy. I hope Keenan Allen is healthy. I hope we see both those guys out there to give Josh Palmer some help. He's fine. Him and DeAndre Carter are fine. But I think as a number 1 and number 2, they just can't sustain, right? Austin Eckler, you're starting. I mean, we'll see what happens at the receiver position here. But ultimately, fire up everyone on the Chargers. Fire up everyone on the Chiefs as well. I like this matchup. We'll see what happens at the receiver position for the Chiefs as well. You got Juju probably going to be out with a concussion. You got McCole Hardman still banged up. But ultimately, I like to see Allen, Williams, Palmer, Carter, and then I'd like to see Tony and MBS and Juju and Hardman out there just to give us some fireworks here in Sunday Night Football. But this is a good game script from a fantasy perspective for sure. Isaiah Pacheco, could have a really good opportunity against this Chargers run defense as well. Niners, Cardinals. CMC and Eli Mitchell. The split backfield we never expected coming into the season. Kyle Shanahan decided last week, I am Kyle Shanahan. We will have a committee, even though we have arguably the best running back in the league, because I am Kyle Shanahan. But you can still start both of them. I still give the upside to CMC. He's getting more of the passing involvement. He's at least getting the ball in the red zone. Got the touchdown last week. So, Brandon Ayuk, Debo, I like this matchup. I hope Kyler plays so we can get a little bit more of a competitive game script here. Jimmy G continues to be a safe streaming option, not a good ceiling, but a safe floor. George Kittle, down week last week, but the Cardinals are the worst team in the league from a fantasy perspective against the tight end position. Fire up George Kittle this week, okay? Cardinals, James Conner, a bad matchup, but Conner's playing okay right now. I mean, some of the productivity to expect kind of depends on if Kyler Murray is healthy or not. But Rondale Moore, Hopkins, we lose Zach Ertz. I mean, we lose Ertz and Goddard in the same week. Keep an eye on Trey McBride. But Rondale Moore, who's been playing very well the last couple of weeks, gets a little bit more of a push, losing Ertz for the year, and then Hopkins does as well. And I think even James Conner does because he gets a lot of dump-offs as well. So, Benjamin's gone, which is interesting. But overall, the Niners defense is good. But I do like these Cardinals this week. Should be a good little week of action here in week 11. All right, thank you guys so much for hanging out. There's your week 11 preview. Let's hop right into it. Let's get into some fantasy Q&A. Let's have some fun. Let's talk some fantasy football. Smash that like button for me. Let's get into it. I'm going to get a sip of water, and we'll go through the chat, baby. All right, what's going on, everybody? Derek, Zakira, what's going on? What's up? Lil Bunny Hop, what's up, bro? I was just thinking about you. I actually was, for real. I'm not just saying that. What's up, man? Good to see you. Trade Michael Carter and Jacoby Myers for Cooper. Win or loss? Any news on Watson? Traded. Not the worst trade. The interesting thing with Amari Cooper is his statistics. Home games and away games. Away games have been really bad. Doesn't look like the weather this weekend's going to do him any favors in Buffalo as well. But Michael Carter has a very favorable playoff schedule, so that may have been one reason to hold on to him. But you get an upgrade at receiver, I would say. I mean, Jacoby Myers still playing very well. He also has a pretty good playoff schedule, but the Jets at the moment have like the best playoff schedule for the running back position. But overall, I like Amari Cooper on the season. I don't think it's that bad of a trade, man. Any news on Watson? He's going to start week 13 is my assumption. Everything I looked at. Prodigy, what up? Should I trade Ken Walker and commit for Monron Swift? My RBs are CMC, JT, Etienne, Foreman. My receivers are CD, Judy Smith, and Andrews at tight end. That's a close one. You got CD, Judy, Smith. I mean, you're fine at tight end with Andrews, but you have a good security blanket. If you keep Komet, he's also a player you can flex. You're good at running back either way with CMC, JT, and Etienne, and Foreman, and then you get Swift. So this helps your receiver position, which is where you have the most need on your team. So I say yes. But you're trading two very good players. Keep that in mind. But it does help your roster ultimately, so I'm good with it. DJ Duvernay, what's up? Derek, it's tough, man. It's tough. Tough to lose Cup. How many people paid for the auction league so far? I did last night. Yeah, I've been kind of in touch with everyone, so we'll get everything put together for sure, man. We'll be good. Half the league has paid, and most of you guys have a plan to pay me, so it'll all be there. We'll be good to go. Let's see here. Curtis Samuel and Michael Carter. Curtis Samuel didn't do much at all last night. Eagles kind of shut him out. 6 fantasy points, 4 targets, 2 receptions, 28 receiving yards. He gets Houston this week. It's a better matchup. I mean, on paper, overall, the better matchup is with Curtis Samuel, but Michael Carter, I feel like, is worth the risk. I mean, he had 10.1 points in Week 8 against New England. He had 15.6 against Buffalo. We know that the Jets are going to run the football a ton. It's a tough matchup. But I go Michael Carter at the moment. Duvernay, currently 9-1. Let's go. Got a few questions, though, about waiver options. What you think? All right, yeah, let me know. High upside, low risk. What's going on? Need your help, brother. What up? Should I drop Palmer for Watson? Whew. Rondale Moore or hold? You should drop him for Rondale Moore for sure. If I knew the status of Keenan and Mike Williams, this would be easier for sure. Yeah, I mean, listen, Palmer still has value, but I think the player with the most value here is Rondale Moore for sure. He's the most consistent out of these three. I like the upside that Christian Watson potentially brings, but we have to understand that Christian Watson is naturally going to regress from what we saw last week, and ultimately probably not going to hit that high again, but he's probably, earned the good graces of Aaron Rodgers and company. So I still like Watson. And Palmer, I just feel like Palmer hasn't done the most with the opportunities that have been given to him. He struggled at times as well. So Rondale Moore is playing good football. And Ertz is out for the year, I will go Ertz. I will go Rondale Moore. Don't go Ertz. He's hurt. Got you, DJ Duvernay, of course, man. Of course. I need to win this year. I feel that. Jeff asked about this yesterday. Just traded Lazard and Foreman for Waddle. Dub? ? Team is Geno, Eckler, Saquon, Patterson, Amon-Ra, now Waddle, Hollywood, Judy, Pickens, Palmer, and Kelsey. I'm good with it. I mean, your running backs, you still have Eckler and Saquon. So, you have 2 of the top 3 running backs. And you add Waddle, who's wide receiver 6, You lose Lazard and Foreman. It's a great trade, Jeff. It's a good trade for you for sure, man. Team looks solid. George, single quarterback, had Burrow and Fields. Just turn down Fields, A.J. Brown, and Dameon Pierce to get CMC and CeeDee Lamb. It's marked to decline, 6-4 in second, tied with 3 other teams. So you would have traded Fields, A.J. Brown, and Dameon Pierce to get CMC and CeeDee Lamb. It depends on the rest of your roster. I still think you are selling. If you're going to sell Fields at the moment, who's quarterback 4 in fantasy, moved at a point this past week, and he was quarterback 3, but Hurts took over quarterback 3, But Burrow and Lamar were on bye, and Kyler was hurt. So, at the moment, Fields is a top 7 quarterback at worst, coming off of a really good performance, 40 points in his last 2 games. If you're going to sell him, you got to sell him high, and you got to sell him with one other player at most. I don't want to sell him with A.J. Brown and Dameon Pierce, If you're selling Fields and A.J. Brown, or Fields and Dameon Pierce to get CMC and CeeDee Lamb, then that's beautiful. So I don't think it was, I think it was smart to decline, but you can still fish around and see what you can get. The other option is to hold both Burrow and Justin Fields. Ultimately, Burrow has the better playoff schedule, but he still has a slightly tough playoff schedule. And then Fields is going to play Detroit in Week 17. If you own Justin Fields and you own another quarterback, the primary reason to hold on to Justin Fields is because he gets the Detroit Lions in Week 17, the fantasy championship. So, Emil, what's up? How are you doing? Joe, what's going on? Flex, Debo, or Foreman? I'd probably go Debo. It's a tough matchup for Foreman against the Ravens. Debo should be in a more competitive game script. I know that he's had some disappointing weeks and everything. And just ultimately on the season, not a very high ceiling, but I feel a little bit better about Debo this week. Ravi, I'm 4-6. My team is Kyler, ETN, Jeff Wilson, J-Rob, Rashad White, D-Hop, Juju, Gabe, Pickens. So I trade Gabe and Komet for Olave and Najee. I also have Njoku. So as long as Njoku's healthy, I'm not against it. You know, I do think Komet's going to have a solid rest of the season. But naturally, at some point, we have to see some of these Bears players kind of come back to earth a little bit, right? So it does look like you need some help at receiver with Gabe Davis being so inconsistent. Pickens probably still in the inconsistent range, and then Juju being hurt, right? Then you gain another running back. I don't necessarily think you have to have another running back, but you've got Jeff Wilson on bye. You've got Rashad White on bye. So at the moment, this definitely helps your team. I don't think it's a bad trade. And Olave is probably the best player, all things considered, out of this trade. So you get the best player in my mind. Go Pack, go, little bunny hop. Hey, come fighting back in for that playoff push, right? Who can I sell A.J. Brown for? Well, George, I would wait. I would wait. If you guys are trying to, well, I guess you can't really wait. What am I saying? It's the last week 2 trade. He did roll his ankle in the loss to the Commanders. I didn't realize that. Maybe that's part of why he wasn't so active in this game. He was more of a decoy. The Colts are very good against the position. He's coming off of his worst game of the season, not even close. 1.7 fantasy points, 4 targets, 1 reception, 7 receiving yards, and a little dinged up. He's got a bad matchup this week. But he's your wide receiver 9 in fantasy, ultimately. And after this week, he's got a pretty good stretch. Green Bay, Tennessee, the Giants, Chicago, Dallas, New Orleans. Competitive game scripts and favorable matchups in there. So he's your wide receiver 9. I mean, look for somebody kind of on the rise, per se. Who's a little bit above him in terms of rankings. T. Higgins would be a good option. Terry McLaurin, playing good football, would be an option. I mean, DK Metcalf, who's on bye week this week, so you got to take a look at that. Amari Cooper could be an option if you think his stock goes up with Deshaun Watson at quarterback. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Darnell Mooney's kind of risky. I don't know if I like that one. Kind of risky. But ultimately, you know, if you're going to look at the running back position as well, you just got to look for players in a little bit of a, overall in the rankings, a little bit lower, but who are kind of bringing some upside towards the second half of the season. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, I don't think you're going to be able to trade A.J. Brown for like multiple players. I think you're going to be able to trade him for one player, and that's probably about it. Especially with the down week, the tough matchup, and the fact that he got a little banged up last week. All right, Christopher, thank you so much for the super chat, my dude. Appreciate you, my guy. $5 dono, very kind of you. Emojis in the chat for you. Oh, we got some new emojis by YouTube. Look at this. Let's go. Look at that trophy. Oh, and the new goat. Oh. Christopher's a goat. All right. Would you trade Sutton, Stevenson, and Pacheco for Andrews? Also, would you trade Tua and Foreman for Walker? It depends. Unfortunately, it really depends on the rosters here. I don't think I would personally trade Ramondre Stevenson unless you're just stacked at running back. I don't think I would trade him. Pacheco is going to be in good line for a really good game this weekend, and hopefully an opportunity for us to get a really good read on how he's ultimately going to be utilized, you know. Sutton, I don't care if you trade Sutton. Even if he had a good week this last week, you know. But it depends. Like, how badly do you need that tight end? What does this look, you know, what does your roster look like at the running back position if you do this trade? And I guess receiver position, but I don't really care about Sutton. But, and Andrews been a little bit banged up on the season. I think Andrews is still tight end too. In the last 3 weeks, Mark Andrews has 6.7 fantasy points in PPR, and he's still your tight end 2 in PPR. It's just like stupid. Kind of depends here, Christopher. How bad do you need the tight end, you know? And I really like Stevenson. Pacheco could do a lot of good work this weekend. Would you trade Tua and Foreman for Walker? Once again, depends on the quarterback position on this team. I mean, obviously, you probably have another quarterback here if you're comfortable letting go Tua. Where does Tua come in? He's quarterback 11, and he has missed, we'll say, 3 games. You know, week 4, 3.4 points, but he left that game early. And really, I mean, really, like, he's missed 3.5 games because he left week 3 early as well. So the fact that he's QB 10 actually is pretty impressive. He's playing good football right now. He gets Houston, San Fran, the Chargers, Buffalo, Green Bay, New England. Some tough matchups in there, but ultimately favorable enough. I would assume you're good at quarterback if if you feel like you can let go of him. So if you're good at quarterback, I think Walker's an upgrade over Foreman. Not that I'm out on Foreman. So I think the second trade's a little bit better. The first trade, it kind of depends on things. So let me know, Christopher. But ultimately, I think you can definitely consider both trades. I like the second trade more, not knowing both rosters, or not knowing the roster in general. So, but it just depends, man. Just depends. So let me know, and we can dissect that a little bit more. All right, Christopher, with another super chat. Thank you, my guy. All right, have Mixon, Pollard, and White, Diggs, and Jefferson. See, and you don't have to keep sending super chats, Christopher. I can take a look at the bottom of the chat here. But I don't know if I would trade Ramondre here. Because I keep talking about this. This is the point of the season where running back depth is just so incredibly important. I don't know if I would trade Stevenson. I mean, you don't get me wrong. You've got 3 good running backs, but we still need to see... Like, the assumption is Rachaad White is going to take over the backfield, right? And he kind of already has in a way, but the assumption is after the bye week, he's going to be the lead back, right? Which is fine. Pollard is still capped. So, I mean, you got White. You're still going to have Leonard Fournette around. I don't care what anyone says. Fournette is going to take some sort of touches. Even if White is the lead back, there's no way they don't utilize Leonard Fournette as well, in my opinion. Even if White gets 80% of the touches. In terms of Tony Pollard, he's still capped by Ezekiel Elliott at the end of the day. So I would hold on to Ramondre Stevenson because you've got 2 backfields that I think could end up being committees, right? Or at least split in some way, even if Pollard and White are the favorable backs. And on top of that, you want running back depth right now. It is thin as paper out there. One of these guys goes down, your season changes. Diggs and Jefferson's beautiful, though. That's just ridiculous. So, I don't know if I do that first trade, my guy. But the second trade looks pretty good to me. Now, I guess here's the aspect that I'm not thinking of, Christopher, that I should be thinking of. If you do the first trade, you lose Stevenson, you gain Andrews, you solidify the tight end position, then you do the second trade, and you gain Walker, then I'm okay because you have a lead running back for the Seahawks, and on top of that, you're back to 4 running backs. So if that's the way you're thinking of things here, you want to accomplish both trades, then I'm okay with it. Does that make sense? All right, appreciate the super chats, Christopher. We'll continue to dissect that throughout the night, man. All right, I am very behind in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to keep rolling through here. Christopher, thank you for the super chats, man. Of course, if you guys want your questions answered right away, you can send the super chat, but I will make it to the bottom of the chat, I promise. Emil, 8-2 in the Catch Fam League. Let's go. Let's get it. Love to see it. Pray, what up, dude? Pick one out of Gus and Damien Harris. I go Gus. Pick one out of Slayton, Paris, and Watson. On the season, Paris. On the week, Darius Slayton against the Lions. Yeah, but Slayton's fine. He's playing as the wide receiver 1 there. I mean, it's the Giants, but he's playing as the wide receiver 1. And the Giants are playing very good football. They're just not playing the best. They just don't bring the biggest ceiling from an offensive perspective outside of Saquon Barkley. So, but yeah, Gus has a better matchup, and I expect Ramondre to be the lead back there. But all those receivers bring value for sure. Jason, what's up, bro? How are you doing? What up? DJ Duvernay, Cole Kmet, Foster Moreau, or Trey McBride. Pick up on waivers. Cole Kmet, not even close. Cole Kmet for sure. I put him in the order you got him listed there. Cole Kmet, Foster Moreau, then Trey McBride. Mason, what up, bro? Need help in the comments. Do I trade Waddle and Swift for CMC and Sutton? Probably not. Very close here. You do get an upgrade at... You get a steep upgrade at running back. You get a steep downgrade at receiver if you do the trade. Mason, it really depends on the rest of... really depends on the rest of your roster. CMC always worth considering trading for, but it depends on what your receiver room is going to look like if you do lose Waddle. So, Terry McLaurin's value after Eagles game went up to wide receiver 1 value. Yeah, and I've been arguing for Terry McLaurin as a start for a long time. You know, I haven't really been disappointed in his production ultimately on the season, but I mean, he's your wide receiver 13 so far. He only has 2 games this year where he had single-digit fantasy performances. So, granted, like the first 6 weeks of the the first 6 weeks of the season, the ceiling wasn't very high. I've been pretty happy with his performances. And then really when Taylor Heineke stepped in as quarterback, his value went up because those two have a good chemistry overall. And Heineke will just like toss it up to McLaurin and like, see what the hell happens. So, yeah. Prodigy, I'm 4-6 or something the catch family, but for the $20 auction league, I'm 8-2, so mostly happy. Do have Cup though. Yeah, I think we play this week, don't we? It'll be a good matchup. Derek, I'm a Goddard owner, so this does hurt an Ertz owner too in our league. League 1 there, both my tight ends. Gosh, man. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit last night. It's just rough. That's just rough, man. Injuries are the worst, man. How long is Cup out for? I believe he's going to be out for the year. Yeah. I mean, there is a chance that he comes back this year. Like, realistically, he probably could. But I don't think they're going to have him come back because I don't think the Rams are making a playoff push at all. And I don't think they're going to risk the best offensive player on their team, hands down. I was about to say, arguably the best player on their team, which you could argue, but Aaron Donald probably takes that realm. But easily the best offensive player on their team. They're not going to rush Cooper Kupp back. They're going to let him heal and get ready for next season. But like Prodigy says, he's out 4 games at least on IR. They'll probably hold him out. If it doesn't look like they're going to make the playoffs, which I don't personally think that's going to happen, he's out for the year. Vic, what's going on, man? Matt Ryan or Kenny Pickett with Geno on bye? I go Matt Ryan. I trust him a little bit more. But he does get the Eagles defense. We'll see what happens. But I go Matt Ryan. He had like 23 points last week. Why not? Rank Gus, Pacheco, Eli Mitchell for waiver wire. What's up, Robbie? I go Pacheco, then Gus, then Eli Mitchell, because CMC is still going to be the RB1 for the Niners, even if Mitchell gets touches. So Pacheco's got a good matchup this weekend, and he's a clear-cut RB1 for the Chiefs at the moment. And then Gus. Never trust the Ravens running back, never trust the Niners running back, but I'll go Gus and then Mitchell. After the review, what up? Cowboys beating my Vikings this weekend. Potentially. It's going to be a good game script, man. It's going to be a good game overall. Right now, the poll's at 50-50. We got 50 votes. Split right down the middle. Half you guys say Cowboys, half you guys say Vikings. We'll see what happens, bro. Then at receiver with Kirk on bye, George Pickens worth a start, non-PPR, and with Judy injured. Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. If that's your best option, you probably got to roll with it. So, I'm good with it, bro. Better in PPR, but if you got to roll with them in standard, it is what it is, right? Would you trade Foreman and Pierce for JT? Running backs are Connor and ETN. Man, just imagine what you could have got JT for on the trade market like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yes. I would still do this trade. Yes. Cameron, what's up? I'm number one waiver priority. Who should I grab? Watson, commit, Pitts, Allen Robinson, Campbell. Likely, I have Andrews or London, 10-team full PPR. I feel like Allen Robinson does hold a lot of value in full PPR leagues because he is outside. I mean, Higbee's probably your number one option if you're Matt Stafford, but I do really feel like Allen Robinson's just going to get a lot of targets and a lot of garbage time targets from Matthew Stafford as well. So he still holds a lot of good value. I mean, I don't love Allen Robinson the way he's played this year, but Allen Robinson or Kmet, and I do like Campbell as well. Those are the three guys I would definitely think about. But if you have Andrews, probably Robinson or Campbell if you need a receiver. I got an issue at quarterback. Do I start Russell, Carr, Tannehill, or Rodgers? I think I like Rodgers too much this week on a short week against the Titans. I mean, you could go Russell Wilson. I just don't trust him. In week 4, he had his best fantasy performance of the season with 27.4 points against the Raiders. He plays them this week. It's at home. I feel like I can't, in good conscience, recommend starting Russell Wilson. I would start Russell Wilson or Rodgers. The matchup's better for Wilson, and it's not Thursday Night Football, so I'd probably go Russell Wilson or Andrew. Mikey, should I trade Fields and DJ Moore for DK? I would try to get more value here. I'd try to get more value. Or at least one other player. You know, I'd like the swap of DJ Moore for DK, but Fields coming off of his probably season high. Like, these last 2 games. I don't know if he's going to be able to match that, but I mean, he's quarterback 4 at the moment. I would try to get more value. I already got Lamar. Fields as the backup. The other option is you hold on to both. Lamar has a very favorable playoff schedule. You know? In Week 17, he gets Pittsburgh. In Week 17, Fields gets Detroit. Fields does not have a favorable playoff schedule in Weeks 15 and 16. And 17 obviously does, but I would try to get one more player or a little bit better value in my eyes. Chase, what's up, bro? I lost Goddard. Thoughts on Hayden Hurst? He's the best option on waiver. Completely safe option. Not a ton of upside on a weekly basis, but he's a very safe option. I would go pick him up. Yeah, if you lost Goddard, he's a good pickup for sure. Let's see here. Hayden Hurst is your quarterback. Tight end 13 on the season. He was a little bit higher before the bye week as well. So, yeah. He is perfectly fine to go snag. I hate to see guys losing Goddard. Goddard and Ertz really hurt us. Let's see here. My 3 running backs on bye. Who'd I play with Swift? Hendo, Murray, J-Rob, or Warren? I would play J-Rob. I'll play J-Rob. Yeah. Warren's worth the look, though. Yeah, those 2 are definitely the guys I lean towards. Let's see. Eli Mitchell or Michael Carter, PPR, and Kmet or Higbee for Goddard's injury. Ooh, you got 2 good options there between Kmet and Higbee. Higbee's going to get a lot more targets. I mean, I don't know, man. I'd probably go... Kmet holds the upside. I'd probably go Kmet. But literally, you could pick up both these guys and kind of see what happens. Ultimately, I like Michael Carter more on this season than Eli Mitchell, but they're both fine. I go Michael Carter. And then seriously, if you can afford to pick up Kmet and Higbee, I'd do both. But Higbee's more of that floor play. Kmet, I still think, brings some risk, but definitely brings the upside. Prodigy makes a good point. I'd say Hendo because I hate all the other options and because he has to get at least a tiny bit of volume increase with no cup. I think that's a good point. I think that could definitely happen as well. Cam Akers is still around. Kyron Williams is still around. I just hate this backfield. But Henderson had a touchdown last week against Arizona. 6 touches, 1 target. Kyron Williams had 3 targets, 1 touch. Cam Akers had 6 touches and 1 target. Oh, to do with that. Henderson might not be a bad option, though. Albert, what's up, bro? After the review, Komet, I like. Bears O is legit good right now. They do look good, don't they? Yeah, lots of upside out of Komet if he's out there for you guys. I'm really surprised. I mean, I guess it is a tight end position. Some of you guys are in like 10-team leagues, but I'm still surprised that Komet is available in as many leagues as I'm hearing. Should I go for Mike Williams or Rondo Moore for waivers? What's up, Ibrahim? I like both. I mean, like, seriously, you can go after both. I really wouldn't mind it. Rondo Moore is going to get a push in volume with Ertz out. Whew. Can you get both? Rondell or Lazard this week? I go Rondell. I do like Lazard. I'm not giving up on Lazard because he had one bad week. I don't know. Lazard's got the better matchup against Tennessee. But I do feel like Rondell brings more upside. I'd probably go Rondell more. Falcons fan, what's up? Start Titans or Saints this week? I would start the Saints. They're going to have a good opportunity this week. I go the Saints. But the Titans are really a perfectly fine streaming option on a weekly basis. But you get a Saints defense going up against a Rams unit that just has no spark at the moment. We'll see what they can put together. You still got Sean McVay as a head coach, but you just lose Cooper Kupp. It feels like a big loss for a unit that's already been struggling all season long, you know? But the Titans are a good weekly streaming option. Your defense 11 overall. Got you 13 points against Denver last week, one of Steven's top teams to stream last week. Short week, they get Green Bay. Secondary's still bad. I think that Green Bay is going to try and air out the football this week. But they've got a good pass rush. They've got a good run defense as well. Vic, non-PPR, Watson a snag and play. My receivers are A.J. Brown, Kirk, Pickens, Judy. Yeah, you can go pick up Watson and play him. You know, good matchup this week. So pay attention to who's healthy and who's not at the receiver position. But Watson's perfectly fine to go snag. Start Pacheco, Henderson, Kyron Williams. I go Pacheco against the Chargers defense in a competitive game script. Ricky. Let me see here. Eckler, Jones, Sanders, Pollard, Jacobs, start 3, half PPR. You got to start Eckler. Start Jacobs. Jones may or may not play. So you got a conundrum there. Short week. He's got a little bit of an injury. Sanders or... I'd probably go Pollard, Jacobs, and Eckler right now, Ricky. How do you feel about that? Have Fields traded Kyler and Kupp for ETN? Thoughts? Have Fields traded... Or I guess have Fields trade Kyler and Kupp for ETN. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, Kupp's probably out for the year, so that's fine. But keep in mind, Fields... I love Fields, but I've been warning you guys. Okay? I mean, keep in mind, week 8, he had Dallas, 26 points. Week 7, he had New England, 24 points. But he's got a really tough stretch after this week. The Jets, Green Bay, and a bye week. Very important. Justin Fields has a bye week in week 14. Then he gets Philly and Buffalo. This is going to be a really good test for Fields, you know. If he starts, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, there's some tough matchups in here and a bye week. Then he gets the Lions in week 17, which is gorgeous, right? We just saw what he did to them last week. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, ultimately, it's a good trade. Would you want Buffalo defense if it's a snow game or Patriots defense? Both are fine, of course. I mean, I don't necessarily know that a snow game equates to a good fantasy day because turnovers are a little bit, like, they're not, it's not like they're more likely. Like, maybe fumbles. I don't know. I guess interceptions can be, but you just have teams throwing the football less. I almost like the Patriots at home a little bit more, but both are fine. And you can definitely hold on to both. Is Eli Mitchell a good stash? For sure, Stover. Let's see. If Zeke plays, would you play Gus Edwards over Pollard? Not personally. I think Pollard's fine to start. I said it all last week, and I mean Zeke ended up being out, but even if Zeke did play, like I feel like Pollard is a solid flex. And Pollard and Zeke have been perfectly fine flexes all year. That's really what I've considered them. Obviously, when one or the other is out, they have a far higher ceiling. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I like Pollard right now. I say fire him up. I never trust a Ravens running back. But Gus has a good matchup. Which two would you start out of Schultz, Hawkinson, Foreman, and Rondell? I would start... I mean, so I guess you're flexing a tight end here. Well, I'd probably start Hawkinson, actually. Maybe? I don't know. I might go Foreman and Rondell. Who's your tight end one? Hawkinson's okay, though, if you want to go him over Foreman. But I start Rondell more for sure. Trade Kelsey and Mixon for Andrews and Tyreek. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know about that one. And that's just tough. Kelsey just gives you that steep positional advantage on a weekly basis that I just don't know if I can ignore. You know what I'm saying? I just don't know if I can ignore that. I have such a hard time trading away Travis Kelsey. I do. But Tyreek Hill is playing phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal. So I like the idea of getting Tyreek. I mean, I don't think it's too much of a lopsided trade, but I would far rather have Kelsey than Andrews, as close as it is. Depends on the rest of the roster here. Depends on what your running back and receiver room looks like, CMB. Football Talks, what's up, man? Trade Pittman and James Robinson for Olave and Goddard. Goddard's an interesting piece here because, I guess he's not out for the season, Not expected to be season ending, but he might not. Just because it's not season ending, quote unquote, doesn't mean that it's not fantasy season ending, Just because he's not put on IR doesn't mean that he's going to play for the rest of the fantasy season. It's just tough because we don't have a clear read on Goddard at the moment. We haven't had enough time. So, but ultimately, I don't think it's a bad trade. Just keep in mind, James Robinson has a very favorable playoff schedule behind Michael Carter. So, but the best player involved here in my eyes is Olave. So I don't think it's that bad of a trade. Add B-Rob or Pacheco. That's another tough one because Gibson is probably going to be good to go, but did get a little bit banged up last night. I guess he's good to go. I don't even see him listed as hurt, but remember he had to be helped off the field. He gets the Houston Texans, Gibson does, but so does Brian Robinson. Pacheco gets the Chargers. It's close. The better matchup is for Brian Robinson, but I like Pacheco more. But this week, I think Robinson might have the better week. What are your thoughts on Lenny versus Rachaad White? Rest of the season, definitely an interesting discussion. Well, the upside lies with Rachaad White. But I still think Lenny's going to be involved. Even if Rachaad White is the RB1, even if he takes over the majority of the touches, Leonard Fournette still has a skill set that this offense can utilize. And still has good chemistry with Tom Brady at the end of the day. I see the Bucs utilizing both running backs. What I actually worry about is Rachaad White being the primary back and getting all the touches down the field, and then Fournette coming in the red zone is what I worry about. But I easily think both will be involved, Prodigy. But Rachaad White is the running back to own in terms of upside. But I think Fournette could make things really frustrating. DK for Garrett Wilson. I go DK over Garrett Wilson. I do like Wilson, though, but I'd rather DK. Diego, who do I start this week at running back down bad? Brian Robinson or Isaiah Pacheco? I like both. Very close. The second time we've gotten that same question. I mean, both in split committees. Gibson and B-Rob, Pacheco and McKinnon and I guess CH. I just can't stand Clyde Edwards-Helaire at this point in the season. Both have good matchups. The Washington Commanders have a better matchup against Houston. The Chiefs do have a good matchup against the Chargers, though, who are also got very banged up on Sunday Night Football defensively. You really can't go wrong, man. But the better offense is with the Chiefs, so maybe Pacheco. Thoughts on Allen Robinson the rest of the season? Worth the pickup. For sure, he's going to be the number one receiver for the Rams, so do what you want with that information. But, yeah, he's worth picking up. Trade Pittman. All right, we already hit that one. Juan, need some waiver help. What's up, bro? Can only pick up one receiver this week because I'm picking up Rashad. Who should I go with? Watson, Tony, DPJ, or Campbell? I will go with Tony or Campbell. Now, and I do like Watson. I do like DPJ. I mean, you got good options here. You got very good options here. Watson, you got to expect he's going to come back to earth, right? Like, not going to have 30 points again. But he's got a good matchup. Tennessee's secondary's played awful this year. So, and most recent years too. But you just got to imagine that it's not going, I don't know. He's got to come back to earth a little bit. Tony looks like a great play, but Hardman was out. Juju left the game. Got to keep in mind, I still think Hardman and Juju are the top of that receiving core. And then Tony and MVS kind of shape out the rest. But depends. I mean, like, Juju's probably going to miss this week. I don't know what's going on with Hardman. So he could be in line for a good game against the Chargers. DPJ has been incredibly consistent in the last couple weeks. We've talked about Donovan Peoples-Jones so much on the waiver wire videos, week after week. Since week 4, he has had double-digit fantasy performances every week except for week 5, where he had 9 fantasy points, which is pretty close. He gets Watson in 2 weeks, which is interesting. We'll see what happens there, Then you got Campbell, Campbell holds value as long as Matt Ryan is a quarterback. If we see another quarterback switch, which I don't think we're going to see, it looks like Jeff Saturday wants to roll with Matt Ryan, then Campbell continues to be a good play. So long term, Campbell and DPJ probably hold the most value, but we also just don't exactly know Tony and Watson's exact roles within their offenses. The upside lies with Watson and Tony, but so does the risk. The floor lies with DPJ and Campbell, and less risk. But I don't know, man. Haven't we been waiting for a Packers receiver to step up all year, and it feels like Watson kind of did so? I mean, and Lazard's played great all year. I've been a huge fan of Lazard this year. He's been just fine. Upsides with Watson and Tony, floors with DPJ and Campbell. Thoughts on James Conner and Benjamin being released? Yeah, I mean, Conner's looked really good the last 2 weeks coming back. I continue to roll with Conner, and he should see uptick in theoretical volume. I mean, who's the next, running back on this squad? Keontae Ingram. Oh, yeah. He's a rookie, I remember, out of USC. Yeah. He had 11 points in week 7 against the Saints. Scored a touchdown. Keep an eye on him. But yeah, Connor should be good to go. Connor will be good. XX Lex in the building. What's up? Sport Dog, what's going on? John, I nailed wins in both leagues. Let's go. 8-2 and 6-4. Do you think Njoku and Mike Williams will play? I also need a kicker this week. It's likely that they both play. It's likely that they could both sit. So it's hard to say. I think Njoku has a better shot than Mike Williams. Let me know what kickers are out there. We can try to help you make a decision. I forgot if you read my text. Michael Carter, Mitchell, and Higbee or Komet. Michael Carter ultimately, and then Komet ultimately. But if you can roster Higbee and Komet, that's the best case scenario. You get one upside guy, you get one floor guy. But I think I'd roll with Komet. But Higbee's going to see a lot more volume now. So he's not a bad option either. But I feel like you just want to roll with the momentum of the Bears offense at the moment. All right, XSLX. I have Tom Brady. Should I stash Deshaun Watson? Also pick up Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson, Mariota for the week. You can definitely stash Watson, but you're going to have 3 quarterbacks for the week, it looks like. I will go Daniel Jones at Detroit. Is his ceiling great? I'm not sure because the Giants are going to run the football a lot. But it is the best matchup here. I mean, that's the order I would go. Daniel Jones, then Russell Wilson, then Mariota, worst case scenario. Russell Wilson does have a good matchup, but he's also Russell Wilson. Stash Isaiah Pacheco or Eli Mitchell. I would stash Pacheco. Running backs I could target packaging Christian Kirk and Mike Williams. I mean, you could probably get a pretty decent running back, but it's hard. It's hard to trade for running backs right now unless you're trading a running back as part of your deal. James Conner, maybe Travis Etienne coming off of a bad game going into the bye week. That's someone to take a look at. Josh Jacobs plays Denver this week. He could have a bad game. He's someone to take a look at. Tony Pollard. Dameon Pierce. You're going to have some fantasy managers kind of spooked about Dameon Pierce with, Benjamin coming into play. And ultimately, his ceiling hasn't been great since like weeks 4 and 5. So he's someone you can take a look at. Kenneth Walker coming off of a low game going into the bye week. Those are all realistic trade options for sure. Can you prioritize Allen Robinson, Watson, Kyron Williams, dropping Khalil Herbert and Taylor or T-Law for 2 of them? In my eyes, Robinson and Watson. I will go after those guys first. Still pretty wary of this Rams backfield. Warrior Loft, what's going on? Luis, what's up? And Njoku, Moreau, Fearmouth, Likely or Johnson, non-PPR. I lost Goddard. Hate to see that, man. But I go Fearmouth. Fearmouth is, in my opinion, the best option here. Then Njoku. Fearmouth and Njoku. Andrea, what's going on? Hello, hello. C-Crip, what up? Do I trade Tyreek for D. Adams? No. No. Not even close. For playoffs, so looking at schedule, I don't know. Even if Adams has a better playoff schedule, I don't care. Let's take a look. Adams gets New England, Pittsburgh, San Fran. It's not even that favorable. Pittsburgh is, but the other 2 aren't. Who does Hill play in the? I don't care who Hill plays. He gets Buffalo, Green Bay, New England. It's not that drastically different. Like Buffalo and New England are stout, but you got to expect that Buffalo game is going to be another good matchup. He had his worst game of the season against Buffalo, but I keep Tyreek. He's your wide receiver 1. I would not trade him straight up for Adams. Tyreek for Saquon, playoff perspective, PPR. That's fine, but it depends. Depends on the roster. We gotta get a little bit more information, Captain Joe King. But Saquon does have a good, if I'm not mistaken, a pretty good playoff schedule. Washington, Minnesota, Indy. I mean, it's not great. It's not awful. Indy and Washington aren't that bad, so I don't know, guys. I'd probably keep Tyreek Hill for both you guys. Depends on the rosters, though. Paul Cooper average is 18.6 at home, 4.5 on the road. I don't know if he doesn't sleep well, likes to party away from home. But he scares me. He still has 4 away games. What should I do? Trade? You can trade him. The issue is you can't wait, but it's not a great time to trade him. And he's going into a snow game on top of the bad away game performances. He's going into a snow game, so he's your wide receiver 14. I would look at guys like T. Higgins, who comes in as your wide receiver 23, still acting as the primary receiver. You got Mike Evans going into a bye week. He's an option. Deebo Samuel, been playing kind of down as of late. I think he could bounce back this week against Arizona. You got A.J. Brown, a little banged up, coming off of his worst game of the season, going into a bad matchup. If you want to trade him straight up for a receiver, I think those are good options. DK Metcalf going in the bye week. Tyler Lockett going in the bye week. Those would all be options to take a look at. Darnell Mooney holds some risk, but you could take a look at Darnell Mooney. Is Monty a solid RB2 after Herbert got injured? Yes, for sure. For sure. Good matchup this weekend against the Falcons, so I'm good to go with Monty. Want to grab one of Tony Watson or Campbell's a wide receiver 4 or 5. Is it better to grab likely first inside Mark Andrews? My tight end last week for Ravens bye was Dolchich. No, I will go with the receiver position here. And I would go with any of all those receivers are fine. I would lean towards the receiver position here. I think likely he's going to get dropped, and you can always fight for him again if you need to. Well, I mean, I don't know if likely is going to be as high of a priority add with Andrews coming back healthy. Fam first, what's up, man? Flex 1 PPR. Connor, Deontay Johnson, Foreman, or Gibson. I might go Gibson. I like Connor right now. He's playing good football. It's definitely between those two. But Gibson gets the Houston Texans. I might go Gibson right now. Kupp is the best player on the team. I don't care about defensive players in fantasy. Fair enough, Jason. Jeff Wilson and Pittman to receive JT. Yes, Suave. Do that in a heartbeat. I like Jeff Wilson a lot, but I'd do that trade for sure. Spence, what's up? Spence says Vikings are winning. Let's go. What's up, Spence? Ben's lost Brees, Chase, now Kupp. Jeez. Tough for I feel like for a lot of you guys, the injuries have hit like it hasn't been as bad as last year, but ultimately it feels like those of you guys who are dealing with injuries have like all the players who are getting injured, Like you have Brees Hall and Jamar Chase and Kupp, or you have Brees Hall and Kupp and Zach Ertz. Like it's just like I don't know. Also Rondell for Jacoby. So you traded Lockett, Lazard, Schultz for Kelsey and Olave. That's a pretty good trade. Rondell for Jacoby. Fine. Rondell might get a little bit of an uptick in volume, though. Got someone down to give me Higgins, Sutton, Foreman for Kelsey and Olave. I would keep Kelsey and Olave. Kind of close, but I would keep Kelsey and Olave. Josiah, someone offered me Pittman and Swift for Pierce. This seems good to me. Thoughts? I'd rather have Pierce, personally. Let's see. Jason, start Wilson unsubbing. I do think that Russell Wilson has a decent matchup this weekend. If you're in need of a desperate stream. The floor is pretty safe. The ceiling is hopefully there. But I'm with you, man. Noah, should I start Tyler Boyd, Sutton, or Christian Watson this week for wide receiver 2? I'd probably start Tyler Boyd. Seems like the easy answer. But I don't know. Christian Watson could be fun against Tennessee Titans if you want some upside. I don't know if I'm going to trust Sutton back-to-back weeks, but he does have a good matchup. The easy answer is Tyler Boyd, but I'd probably go Tyler Boyd. I just realized that the stream still says to follow us on Twitter above me. It's going to bother me because we don't have a Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. All right, I fixed it. All right, thank you guys so much for being here tonight, man. I appreciate you guys spending part of your night here at the channel. We're about an hour in. Hit that like button for me if you guys haven't done so already. Let's keep rolling. All right. In my 2 QB league, I'm trying to trade a ton for Josh Allen. Would have Allen, Lamar, ETN, Jacobs, Pierce, Chase, CD, Lockett, Ayuk, Kelsey. I thought that would be fun. Yeah, why not, man? Go have some fun. DPJ, Gallup, or Tony. DPJ for a floor, but Tony for upside. Gallup could have a good weekend competitive matchup as well, but ultimately I'd probably go with those two. Michael, thanks for the advice last week. Won my matchup. Let's go, bro, of course. I'm sure someone's asked, but Fields or Lamar off a bye last week. Thanks again. I go Fields because he gets the Falcons. It's a good matchup here. And Lamar's got a good matchup too. So it's very close. You really can't go wrong if you got those two guys. Komet over Fearmouth. Wow, we got two in a row. Komet over Fearmouth. Back to back. This week I go Komet. But Fearmouth is still worth holding on to if you own both. But this week I go Komet against the Falcons. Which player to pick up, Komet or Watson? Which one do you think has better value or more likely to be consistent rest of season? Komet. Komet. Let's see. Kmart is out of business. I miss Kmart. Let's see. CMC, Kamara, Mondre, Singletary, PPR, sit 1. I probably sit Singletary, although it is a good matchup. Probably sit Singletary in a supposed snow game. Plus, I still feel like he holds the least amount of upside out of the 3. Yeah, Kmart was good stuff, man. Paul, start Dallas or grab the Rams? I would start Dallas. I would start Dallas. Roll with Dallas. Anthony, so proud of you all. Been here from the start. Love watching Grows channel. Keep it up. I appreciate that, Anthony. It means a lot to me when I hear that from you guys. Appreciate that, man. I won't forget the A1 day ones. Remember when we used to have like 3 people if I was lucky in the stream? Good times, man. Hey, just got to take it one day at a time and keep grinding. It's definitely been a grind this season. But this season's been phenomenal. We're like closing in on 3,000 subscribers. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys, man. Appreciate that, Anthony. XXLX, I have Andrews. Drop Komet for Daniel Jones to start as a buy replacement. Who else can he drop? Who else can he drop? I still trust Fields a good amount. Thing is, most of his recent production has come from running, which is much less changed by the defense he's playing against. He's also the QB5 against Dallas and New England. Fair enough. Fair enough. Just saying, don't be too surprised if you don't get a 30 or 40 point performance in those weeks. But even, you know, like, yeah, 24, 26 points against New England and Dallas, still very good. Would you start Fields over Josh Allen this week? Maybe this week. You know, most weeks I still think I'm rolling with Mahomes, Hurts, and Allen. That's what I said last week, although it was a little bit easier because Jackson and Burrow were on bye week and Kyler was hurt. But even then, I still liked Fields over Kyler. But Fields gets the Bears, or Fields is on the Bears. Fields gets the Falcons this week. I just like this matchup a lot. I think he's got a lot in the tank this week. Where Allen's going to be in a snow game. So I don't think he holds as much upside. But most weeks I'm still going Allen over Fields, you know. I mean, Allen is still your quarterback 1 in fantasy, you know. Gob, what's up, bro? Hit 7 and 3. Let's go. Let's go. I have Derek Carr and Russell Wilson. Do I drop one or both and get Ryan Watson or just wait it out? I mean, I would drop Carr and get keep Russell Wilson. I mean, gosh, Carr's just been disappointing this year. I mean, like, Carr gets Denver, Seattle, and the Chargers, where Russell gets Las Vegas, Carolina, Baltimore. Russell has the better schedule. Actually, Russell Wilson has an extremely favorable schedule to finish out the year. Las Vegas, Carolina, Baltimore, Kansas City, Arizona, the Rams, and Kansas City from a fantasy perspective, and the Chargers in Week 18 if you play in Week 18. So I would hold Russ, and I would pick up Watson. He at least gives you some hope. Hot take, Kelsey's positional advantage makes him the most valuable player in fantasy. If a league were to redraft knowing what we know now, I'd say Kelsey should go number 1 overall. You know, Prodigy, Steven and I, our home league is a keeper league, and I had the number 1 overall pick. I picked Eckler over CMC. There were plenty of players who were not available, like Jonathan Taylor, Cooper Kupp, and Justin Jefferson, for example. And I talked to Steven leading up to the draft, and I almost went Travis Kelce at number 1. I was very close to it. So, I don't disagree with what you're saying. Yeah. Zachary, what's up, bro? What are we doing with Swift? He's a flex with a low ceiling unless something happens to Jamal. And even then, I mean, with Craig Reynolds and Jackson around, I don't even know. Try to package him away if you can, I guess, at this point in the season, man. Zachary, Evan Ingram, Moreau, Hunter Henry, Logan Thomas, Jerwan, or McBride lost Ertz. Might be able to trade Swift for Hawkinson. If you can get that trade done, that helps you. And that's a good. That's your answer to what you're doing with Swift, you know. But ultimately, Ingram's on bye this week, but Ingram on the season, Moreau for the week. Should I try to get like Christian Kirk for Fields? That's a little bit better, Noah. A little bit better. Defensive stream this week. Jets, Bengals, or Commanders. I will go the Jets because Mac Jones likes to throw interceptions, but the Commanders are not a bad stream this week as well. Get the Texans coming off a good performance against the Eagles. Commanders are for the upside, Jets for the floor. Yeah, no, I think that's a little bit of a better trade. R.I.P. Debo, now he's a bum on my bench and no one wants him. I think he could bounce back this week. He could bounce back this week. Pollard over Zeke this week. Yes, I'd rather start Pollard. Would you trade JT, Lockett, and Montgomery for Kenneth, Pollard, and Rondell Moore? That one's close, but I would consider this. JT, Lockett, and Monty. I don't know. It's very close. Very close. JT on the rise. Lockett's played fine all season. Monty just gained value because Herbert's out. Versus Kenneth Walker, Pollard, and Moore. I might hold. This is super close. Moke, which side do you feel better about? What's your thought process here? Very close. Should I try to trade Fields or Lamar? Fields for Lamar? That's fine. Lamar has a more favorable schedule the rest of the season. It's fine. But I like both. Dropping Hollins, adding one player off waivers, rate 1 through 4. Tony, Jefferson, Duvernay, Slayton. I would go Tony, then Slayton, then Duvernay, then Van Jefferson. Keep in mind, I think Tony brings more upside, more risk. Slayton actually probably brings a little bit more consistency in the floor. I was thinking about packaging Fields and Lockett for wide receiver 1. You could do that as well, Noah. Bengals play Pittsburgh. Who do Washington and the Jets play? Washington plays the Texans and the Jets play the Patriots. Yeah, Lamar has a great playoff schedule. Santos, hope you're having a great night as well, my dude. Ron the Goat in the house. What's up? What's up? I'm getting close to the bottom of the chat. Let's go. Hey, I appreciate you guys being here tonight. Appreciate everyone spending part of their night here at the channel. Paul, with all the tight end injuries, want to move in Njoku. I have Kelsey. Can I get a solid flex for him? Yeah, you could definitely get a solid flex option. But you got to target the teams that had Goddard or Zach Ertz. But yeah, you can get a flex option for sure, in my opinion. Is Sutton a must start? I don't know if I call him a must start, but he is a player you can start. You know, it has to be full PPR. He had a good matchup last week. He's got a good matchup this week again against the Raiders. So, his third best fantasy performance of the season was week 4 against the Las Vegas Raiders for 16.2 fantasy points. And his only touchdown on the season came against the Raiders. So, I don't know if I call him a must start, but you can start him for sure. King Marcel, what up? Have Gus Edwards looking to add either Pacheco, excuse me. I got grilled in the waiver wire video this week because I said Isaiah Pacheco and Ricard White, which I've been saying all season, and no one corrected me. And in the waiver wire video, I was just like getting like comment after comment. I was like, oh my goodness. Isaiah Pacheco or Brian Robinson. That's like the 4th or 5th time we got in that one tonight. I guess because they're both available on the waiver wire for a lot of you guys. Pacheco's got a good matchup against the Chargers, still in a committee. Brian Robinson's got a great matchup against the Texans, also in a committee. So, they both have very good opportunities this weekend. I would say Robinson's probably more limited than Pacheco is potentially. So, or do I play Jamal Williams? Jamal Williams is fine as well. You really can't go wrong, but Pacheco's on the better offense, so I might lean towards him. And yeah, Jamal Williams is fine to start this week. Not a lot of upside against the Giants, but he's fine to start. Traded Bills defense and Singletary for Geno DK Kansas defense. That's a good trade, especially if you needed an extra quarterback. But yeah, trade's fine. I'd rather have DK than Singletary. Ravens defense or Patriots this week. I like both. I think the Ravens could have an opportunity for a couple turnovers against Baker, so I might go the Ravens. Cowboys defense this week, Washington or Cincy. I stick with the Cowboys. Stick with the Cowboys. Nick Folk or Bucker. I go Nick Folk for sure. Pan, what up? Down bad for tight end. Who should I put a waiver claim for? Likely or Juan? That is tough. I'm assuming that's Jawan Johnson. Give me Jawan Johnson. A couple tough matchups coming up, but give me Jawan Johnson. Just saw weather, snow for sure at the Bills game. Yeah, I've heard like up to 2 feet of snow. Herbert worth holding to rest season. I have Fields. I mean, if you have Fields, you can look to trade him, but Herbert's got some really good matchups coming up. So, like, gets Kansas City, Arizona, Las Vegas, and Miami in the next 4 weeks. All those teams are, like, in the bottom 8 against the quarterback position. This is our final stretch for Justin Herbert. And, you know, Mike Williams and or Keenan Allen could be coming back. So, like, hold on to him. I'm begging you guys. Hold on to Justin Herbert. But if he still doesn't perform in these next couple weeks, you can move on. But I would hold on to Herbert even if you have Fields. Connor or Jamal Williams versus season, I go Connor. Fancy Dog, what's up, bro? I'm doing great. How are you doing, man? Doing waiver stuff. Let's go. Glad that you're here tonight, my guy. High five, what's up? Eckler, Debo, Diop for CMC, Devontae, and Brian Robinson. Ooh, that's close. That is super close. That's close. In case you didn't hear me, I think that is close. Swap RB1 and RB2. I'd rather have Devontae over Debo. I'd rather have D-Hop over Brian Robinson. First side, you lose 2 receivers. Second side, you gain extra running back in a committee. It's very, 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 very close. But I think I hold the Eckler side. But it is extremely close. Let's see. Should we still roster Kyron Williams? I don't think you need to. I want to stay away from this Rams backfield ultimately. So I don't think that you need to. I mean, Henderson scored last week. You still got Akers getting a couple touches a game. I don't think you need to. It was worth the hold before, but now that we've seen a sample size, I don't think you need to. Gob, thanks for all the great content. Thank you for being here, bro. Thank you for being part of the community. I appreciate you, bro. I thought it was pronounced Ricard too. Not sure why I did, if that's wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was Ricard. And anyways, yeah, like the Isaiah Pacquiao one really got people going, and that's why. And then there was a waiver video where I said Isaiah P, because like all off season I was like Isaiah P. Like I don't know, I just did that. You guys know I do that with player names like randomly, like Dallas Goedert. Like I know it's Goddard, but I was saying Isaiah P, like P, period. And someone commented was like, you lost all credibility when you said Isaiah Peed, like Pead, like I didn't know his name. And I was like, dude, I said Isaiah P. Anyways, what are you gonna do? This is why I like streaming a little bit more than uploaded videos. If you played in the NFL, would you draft yourself in fantasy? No way. Not even close, Cadillac. After the view, good night. Have a great night, bro. Always appreciate you hanging out. Yeah, Ravens against Carolina looks like a good matchup. Kevin with the super chat. Thank you, bro. JT and Kirk popped off. Excuse me. W trade for JT. 100%. Let's go, baby. You love to see it. You love to see it, man. Appreciate the $2 dono. Let's see, we'll put Aaron Rodgers emojis in the chat for you, bro. Appreciate the $2 dono, Kevin. McClan, Mooney, Tony, and Watson pick 2. Ooh, it's close. Get Mooney. He's the floor play. Get the safe guy, and then I'll go Watson by a hair, but Tony's fine too. Oh, it's super close. Get Mooney, then get whichever one you feel better about, Tony or Watson. Should I stick with Bass in the snow or get a kicker for good weather? I'd probably look at other options personally. Chris, what's up, bro? Picked up the Jets while the Bucks are on bye. I don't trust Pitts, so I'm looking to add Kmet. Thoughts on moving forward with 2 defenses and 2 tight ends? Thanks in advance. That's fine. If you have the roster room, you know, if you feel better, if you feel fine about the rest of your roster while holding 2 defenses and 2 tight ends, I mean, I'm not completely against it, especially as the end of the season draws and like you're playing defenses based on matchups. I don't have a problem with it personally. I'm good with it. Chris, thank you for the super chat, bro. I didn't send any text, but let me know what you need, man. But still hitting your question here. I mean, you can consider trading Pitts before the deadline if you're going to grab Kmet. You know, I would consider that. And that would help you out a little bit. But I don't mind rostering the Jets and the Bucks right now. I don't at all. But yeah, as long as it doesn't hurt your wide receivers, running backs, and you're fine at quarterback, I don't have a problem with it, bro. So, Chris, thank you for the super chat. Let me know if you want me to dissect that anymore. If you have any other questions, anything else you want me to go over, my guy. Thank you for the super chat, man. Debo for Fournette. I would keep Debo. I'd keep Debo. Dropping Hardman as a wide receiver 4 or 5 on most of my teams. I'd pick up Watson. That's fine, Fantasy Dog. Just because we don't exactly know what's happening with Hardman, but Hardman will still have production. But if you want to go grab Watson right now, that's fine. I think that Watson's going to be more difficult to obtain unless you get him right now. You know, where Hardman, if you drop him, will be easier to pick back up. Pollard, Najee, or Cordero for RB2 or pick up Jamal Williams. I would roll with Pollard, but Cordero's got a really good opportunity this weekend against the Bears. But I'd roll with Pollard ultimately. Nicholas, what RB should I get for Lockett? It's tough. Tough to trade for running backs right now. You're going to have to look at a team that needs a receiver and or has good running back depth. But Lockett's your wide receiver 10. You know? So you should be able to get pretty good value. It's going to be tough. Dalvin Cook going into 2 tough matchups against Dallas and New England might be an option. Just don't sell yourself short. ETN going into a bye week as your RB12. It just feels like RBs are a little bit more valued, you know? Damian Pierce, your RB 14. You know, Benjamin added to that roster's got some people spooked. Kenneth Walker, kind of coming off of a lower week, going into the bye week, your RB 16. Oh, look at those guys. Don't sell yourself short. Lockett's wide receiver 10. Chris, with Cup out, is Allen Robinson waiver wire priority over Rondale Moore and Christian Watson? Allen Robinson's up there, but personally, I'd rather grab Rondale Moore, even if he's a wide receiver 2. He just holds more upside. He's going to get a tick in targets with Zach Ertz out. So I would go Rondale Moore first. It's close. Close. I mean, Allen Robinson's more than likely going to bring a floor, you know, be a safe play, but not a lot of a ceiling. Rondale Moore and Christian Watson bring that upside. So depends on what your roster looks like, but I'm probably going for the upside right now at this point in the season. So Smokey, what's up, bro? How are you doing? We finally get to face each other in the Catch Fam League this week. What's up, bro? Order to pick up Mitchell, Drake, Gus, Pacheco. I go Pacheco, Drake or Gus, then Mitchell. I mean, I just don't know in terms of the Ravens backfield who's going to be the lead back this weekend. I don't know. I'd be lying if I told you I knew. They both have a shot. They both have a good matchup. I won't be surprised if everyone goes after Gus and Drake is the guy, you know, or if people start throwing Drake into their lineup and Gus is the guy. Or both of them just have a semi-decent game. Or both of them have a really good game, you know? I despise the Ravens backfield. Just like I despise the 49ers backfield when they have multiple healthy running backs. But you can still start CMC with faith. For those of you who own CMC. But I go after Pacheco for sure. Rondale Moore, Tyler Boyd in half PPR. It's tough. Upside goes to whoever scores a touchdown. Better matchup lies with Tyler Boyd, so I'll go Boyd. But I think Moore is going to have a good game. Even in a tough matchup. Does have a tough matchup against Niners. Komet or Pat Freiermuth? Ooh. Very close. Freiermuth is your tight end 9 on the season. Komet has moved up to tight end 10. Very close. Can you hold both? Give me Komet for the upside, but Pat Freiermuth is fine for the floor. Someone offered me Njoku and Rondell for Hollywood and Goddard. Is that bait? I feel like it's bait. Depends on the rest of your roster. I mean, if you need to win now, you get Njoku and Rondell Moore. If you don't, you probably just stick with Hollywood and Goddard. Or if you feel like you're kind of in between, you need to make a push. I don't know. I might go with Njoku and Rondell. But ultimately, if you feel like you're going to make it into the playoffs, you stick with Hollywood and Goddard. Will, of course, that's what we're here for, bro. Diggs dropped the Eagles defense for the Ravens. Rest of the season looks nice for Baltimore. It does. I had this same conundrum in one of my leagues. The rest of the season looks pretty good for Philadelphia as well. The Ravens get Carolina, Jacksonville, Denver, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Atlanta. And Pittsburgh, pretty favorable overall. They are your defense 8 in fantasy. The Eagles didn't quite look like themselves last night, but they are still your defense 3 in fantasy. They get the Colts, Packers, Titans, Giants, Chicago, Dallas, and the Saints. I think the upside lies with the Ravens. I think you can go get them, but don't be surprised if the Eagles play very well. It's very, very close there. Very close. Ghost Hunter, I don't need a tight end since I got Kelsey. Yeah, I probably still stick there. It's close. Cowboys worth stashing? Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Is Njoku worth stashing? Yeah. Both kind of need roster space. Well, if you need roster space, it might be different. But, I mean, go fish and see what you can get before the trade deadline hits. But, yeah, both have value, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So I don't have a problem with either of them on your roster, but if you need to make some moves, then that's one thing. Chris, thanks a ton. Keep up the great work. I appreciate that, Chris. I appreciate the super chat, my dude. I think the Ravens see is a good start the rest of the year. I do. Mixon, Stevenson, JT, Michael Carter, Jamal Williams starting 3. Mixon, Stevenson, and JT on the week. Yeah. But all of those players are worth keeping. It's a good running back room, Santos. And order, how are you prioritizing waiver pickups with Tony, Kmet, and Watson? I've got Lamar. Would just get Deshaun for backup in playoffs. Got Ingram on bye. Tony for my team as a stash. If you got Ingram on bye, you probably got to go Kmet, then Tony, then Watson. But Tony and Watson are pretty interchangeable depending on who you're more confident in and what offense you're more confident in. And you got to look at, like, the health of other receivers definitely impact those two. Where would you rank putting a waiver claim on these players? Jerick McKinnon, Latavius Murray, and Paris Campbell. Depends on if you need a running back or a receiver more. But I'd probably go Paris Campbell, then Jerick McKinnon, then Latavius Murray. As long as Matt Ryan is quarterback for the Colts, Paris Campbell holds a lot of good value. Jerick McKinnon holds much more value in full PPR. Like, that's ultimately where the value is for Jerick McKinnon, right? Where he's going to get you those 10-point stat lines. So, I don't hate him, but just keep in mind, like in standard and half PPR, he's not bringing the same overall ceiling at the end of the day. So, but yeah, Latavius Murray, I mean, if he scores, it's a respectable fantasy stat line. That's about it. You still got Gordon around. That catch fam game will define the future of our fantasy year. Let's go, bro. I'm excited for it. I've been every week just making whoever I play, like a name on my team name is based around you. And I just couldn't think of anything better, Smokey, so it's made it Smokey the Cat. Rest of the season, Mixer Walker. What's up, Angela? Very close, but I'll go Mixon, but extremely close. Extremely close. I really like Walker. I don't know. That Mixon by the smallest hair in the world. Very close. Diggs, I'll try to hold both. Sounds good. Kayla, what's up, bro? Someone sent me a trade in a Dynasty League. I will get Mark Andrews, and I give him Garrett Wilson and a 23 second-round pick. Should I accept or decline? Have Everett, Jawan Johnson, and Noah Fant, but I can flex another tight end. Very close here. Very close. How do you feel about it, Caleb? It's very close. I might go for Andrews. I think the bigger issue is how much longer of a window do we have Lamar Jackson with the Ravens? Because that's a huge part of Mark Andrews' production. Not that he can't be productive without Lamar Jackson, but the chemistry between those two is such a huge part of his ultimate production. So it's very close there from a dynasty perspective. Both sides of the trade are good. How do you feel about it? Waiver wire has been good to me the last 3 weeks. Jason Myers dropped. Have Folks and Suckup. Is Myers worth picking up and dropping the others? Or is it time to consider the weather? I mean, I think if you have Folk and Suckup, you can still go get Myers. I would keep Folk personally, and he plays just fine in the weather. You kind of have a nice balance here. You got Suckup in good weather ultimately in most weeks, and then Folk, who can have bad weather in New England, but still plays good in bad weather. So it's very close there. But Myers is your kicker 1, if I'm not mistaken. I think he moved up because Tucker was on bye week. So really, you're going to be your kicker 2. Yeah, he moved up to kicker 1. But that's because Tucker was on bye week, and now Myers is on bye week this week. So Suckup is your kicker 3. He goes on bye week this week. And then Folk is your kicker 4. Like, you really can't go wrong here, man. And you got a good balance right now. So, you're in a good spot no matter what you do. Duvernay, not really any teams need a tight end, so I think I should be able to get Kmet. Watson isn't really important, so thinking he's last. Tony is good too, but my receiver depth is Diggs, Brown, Hopkins, Pickens, Waddle. Yeah, I mean, oh no, Randall Robinson. Okay, I would try to replace Randall Robinson with Tony. Yeah, that's what I would do. Caleb, it's close. I'm not sure, honestly. I'm leaning towards Andrews, but Garrett Wilson's on the rise. I mean, I think the bigger issue in Dynasty for me is like that window with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. How much longer do we have there? So it's close, but I think it's okay if you want to roll with it. You know, tough decisions there, man. I need to start a Dynasty league. I really do. Really do. I need to start a Dynasty league. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys being here tonight, man. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Ooh. I just changed everything on the screen by accident. That's why I stopped talking for a minute, because I accidentally closed out of my... All right, there we go. We're back to normal here. All right, so what else we got going on? I'll probably start winding things down by 12 o'clock Eastern time. I got to edit tomorrow's video and get that out for you guys. So, and I need to go to bed at a reasonable time. Although I took a power nap, so I don't know if that's going to happen. But I got some chores to do. I got to edit tomorrow's video. So, we got a couple things to do. So, we'll start winding it down. I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. I'll get through the last couple questions here. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. If you're new to the channel, make sure to join the Discord. Follow us on Instagram. Links are in the description down below. We'll kind of start winding down here. Should I drop Khalil Herbert in a 10 team since he went on IR? Yeah, for sure. For sure. Oh, you can fill 2 bench spots, Duvernay. Well, if you want to drop Randall and I feel like there's better options, I'm not against it. But he does play the Lions this week, so you could also hold on to him. Got offered Connor for my Palmer and Wilson thoughts. I'd rather have Jeff Wilson. I like Connor. I like the direction he's going. But I'd probably keep Jeff Wilson. It's close, Juan. If you feel good about it, it's not awful. But Jeff Wilson's arguably playing better football than Connor and Palmer, so I'd probably keep Wilson. And that offense looks great right now. Fantasy Dog, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Caleb, appreciate you, bro. Yeah, I tried out the ranking format this week because I feel like I can still get out all the information that I get out in a start and sit video. And to be honest, the start and sit videos are just a lot of work. I still might do starts and sits for running backs and receivers this week. So, not necessarily ruling them out, but I wanted to see how you guys kind of responded to rankings videos. And that might be an easier format for me to do moving forward. And I've been pretty burnt out at this point in the season. I've been feeling it this year. Probably because the wife and I have an almost 10-month-old baby, and that has been a huge impact. I'm not complaining. Love her to death, but the channel's been an ultimate grind this year for sure. So I'm trying to kind of just test some different things out and, kind of for preparation for next year and everything. So, but anyways, I'm glad you enjoyed the ranking video for sure. Let's see. And running back rankings will drop tomorrow. Ghost Hunter, appreciate you, bro. We'll talk to you later. Andrea, drop DJ Moore, pick up Watson. I say go for it. Go get some upside, Andrea. Is Keenan Allen a hold? Yes, because it looks like he could come back this week, hopefully. Juan, I thought about accepting it, but I wanted to hold Jeff Wilson. I think you hold as well. I think you hold. Prodigy, peace out, my dude. We'll talk to you soon. Santos, love the ranking video for receivers. Saw you have more up there. He's the only option I have behind JJ or get cute with Tony or Pascal. DPJ out there too. Yeah, I'm giving Moore a shot this weekend because the Ravens secondary ultimately hasn't played great from a fantasy perspective. But to be honest, I wasn't fully aware of Baker starting at quarterback when I made the video, because I made that video like Sunday, or I started making it Sunday night, which is when I usually do, which I kind of have to keep the schedule, but can also like at the end of the day hurt me in ways when I start to put things together that early. You know, I would go with Tony or DPJ. I'd probably go Tony ultimately. Prodigy, we'll talk to you soon, bro. Kenneth Walker on bye week 7-3. Should I go Pollard, Pacheco, or Dillon? I go Pollard for sure. Duvernay, Lamar, Barkley, Etienne, Diggs, Brown, Kmet, Hopkins, Ingram, Monty, Foreman, Randall, Pickens. With the depth I've got, are you trying to get a tight end for playoffs? If so, who you moving? No. I stick with your squad. Roll with them into the playoffs. Lamar, Barkley, Etienne, Diggs, Brown, Kmet, D-Hop looks beautiful to me. Monty, Foreman, Randall, Pickens. Now, hold this team. Hold this team. Solidified in the playoffs. Maybe. But I hold the team. Is it worth trading Godwin for Kupp? I'm second in home league. When and if he comes back, I'd have JJ, Tyreek, AJ Brown, and Kupp. Just don't ask me about my running backs. Yeah, I know this team for you, bro. I don't know, man. I really feel like Kupp's out for the year. I really feel like they're not going to be in a rush to bring him back at all. I really don't. I don't have a good feeling about it. If the Rams are not in a playoff push at all, which they could be, they're going to sit Kupp and let him rest up. But you do have good receiver depth. You can think about it, Smokey. But Godwin always brings a very safe floor. So. Duvernay, thanks again. You're amazing help, man. I appreciate that, bro. Appreciate you being part of the community. Start Russell Wilson or Ryan this week. Russell Wilson has the better matchup. Matt Ryan is the better quarterback, I guess. He's had some bad games. I go Russell Wilson. I hate saying it, but I go Russell Wilson. Eagles defense looked a little shaky last night, but ultimately, where did that put Taylor Heineke? Taylor Heineke at 6.4 fantasy points. You know, I don't know. I go Russell Wilson. I feel like the floor is safer. Caleb, have a great night. Andrew, have a great night. I'll get through these last couple and we'll close out for the night. Santos, get some rest with that 10-month-old. Enjoy the baby, though. Of course, man. Of course. Appreciate that. C&B, Pickens, Hardman, Allen Robinson, or Christian Watson this week. Hardman if he suits up. If not, Pickens for a floor, Watson for upside. Pickens or Robinson bring the floor. Watson and Hardman bring a little bit of risk, but more upside. Pick 2, what's up, Grail Collect? Tony, Rondell Moore, Allen Robinson, Paris Campbell, and Mooney. Give me Mooney and Tony. No, give me Rondell Moore. Give me Rondell Moore. Tony for upside, Mooney for floor. Allen Robinson and Paris Campbell also bring a nice floor, but Rondell Moore, Mooney, Tony are the ones that jump out to me, ultimately. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. Guys, we're at 39 likes. Can we hit 40 likes before we end the stream? Smash that like button for me on your way out. Check out all the links down below. If you guys are new to the channel, follow us on Instagram. Make sure to join the Discord. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Running back rankings will drop tomorrow. Wide receiver rankings are for the week. Stevens must-start defenses and must-start kickers are out for the week. Go check out the videos, guys. Go drop a like. Go drop a comment. Let us know what you guys thought. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I'll be on at some point tomorrow. Let you guys know when I'm hopping on. And great stream tonight. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Thank you guys for spending part of your night here on the channel. Most importantly, thank you guys for the fantasy questions and for keeping the fantasy content going in the chat. Thank you guys for helping out each other. And that'll do it, man. So, Peter, glad you've been enjoying the content. Glad the fantasy team has been going well. And appreciate you being part of the community. Anthony, peace out, my dude. Diggs, Says, let's get to 50 likes. Let's do it, man. Smash the like button on the way out. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Everyone, be safe. Have a great Tuesday. And I appreciate you guys, man. Love this community. Love the Catch fam. Love you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon. With that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the Catch. And